Students, let's begin with the second chapter from your economics book of grade 12, and the name of the chapter is Demand and Law of Demand. So, in this video, we will learn about the meaning of demand, types of demand, and determinants or factors affecting demand. So, first, we have to understand the meaning of demand. The term demand can be, or you can say, similar word of demand is desire. The desire or willingness to buy something or to consume something. Okay, this desire of human beings are known as demand. In economics, you will get to know about one important term, that is effective desire or effective demand. The persons those are having demand or wanting to buy some commodity and having equally the purchasing power. This is called effective demand. Suppose I am thinking of buying a pen and I have money with me. That is an effective demand. Suppose I am thinking of buying an aeroplane but I am not having that much of money. That is not an effective demand or not an effective desire. Okay. Next, types of demand. The first point is saying us about the individual demand curve and market demand curve. Individual demand curve refers to the quantities of a commodity that an individual consumer is willing to purchase at various prices during the given period of time. This means that suppose the price of a commodity is increasing, that individual consumer will demand less, and suppose the price of that commodity is decreasing, the demand will increase more. This is what we have assumed. Okay, as the price increases, the demand decreases. As the price decreases, the demand increases. But the demand is here calculated on a single consumer, on individual. Okay, only one single person. In other words, we can say this is a movement along the demand curve. There is only one demand curve and one commodity is being estimated here, and as the price is increasing, the demand is decreasing. For that individual person we are calculating, this is individual demand curve, or you can say individual demand. In other words, we can say individual demand and household demand is same. On the other hand, we are having market demand. Market demand means we are just putting together, it is a sum total of the demand by all the households or individuals is known as the market demand. That means here we have to keep the price fixed, and as we are keeping the price fixed, each individual is demanding according to their purchasing power. Somebody can demand more, somebody can demand less. At the end of the day, they are just adding together all the demands and then summing it up. Means we are adding it up and then we are finding the demand of the market. Okay, this is called market demand. So in other words, we can say that market demand curve is shift in demand curve. Okay, market demand means shift in demand curve. Okay, next, number 2 in your book is given ex ante and ex post demand. Ex ante demand means the amount of commodity a consumer is willing to buy. That means they are just planning to buy. Okay, actually they are not buying, they're just planning. Before going to the market, we often make a plan. Like we are going to buy 2 dresses, we are going to buy 3 dresses. We are just making a plan. And ex post demand means as we are going to the market, the actual thing, how much are we buying? That is the ex post demand. That means if I go to the market and I find that the dresses are really being sold at a very cheap price, I thought of buying 2, but I came back after buying 4. So that is ex post. So I thought of 2, that is ex ante, and how much I bought? 4, that is ex post. Hopefully you understood this. Thus consumers may end up buying more or less quantities of goods that they have planned to buy. Okay. Next is joint demand. Joint demand means where both the commodities are, you can say, acting as a joint. They are jointly being demanded. Joint demand refers to the demand for 2 or more goods which are used jointly or demanded together. For example, car and petrol. So if the price of car is increasing, suppose the price of car have increased, then you will find that the demand for the car is decreasing. Equally, if the demand for the car will decrease, the petrol's demand will also decrease. Let us take this example only, but in a better way. That is, suppose if the petrol's price is increasing day by day, actually it's increasing, right? As the petrol's price is increasing, so people will not think of buying any car or bike, any automobile like that. So as the demand for the automobile is decreasing, the demand for the petrol is also decreasing. This is called joint demand, means both the commodities are joined to each other. The car and the petrol are acting as a joint demand. So anybody who is buying a car cannot deny to buy petrol, and the person who is not having a car will never go to buy a petrol, right? So it is acting as a joint demand. Number 4, we are having derived demand. Derived demand means the demand for a commodity that arises because of the demand for some other commodity is called derived demand. This means, suppose if the demand for clothes are increasing more, demand for clothes is increasing more in the market, automatically the textile mill will try to hire more and more labor. So this demand for labor is increasing because of the demand in cloth, right? As because demand of one product is increasing, it is affecting the demand of other commodity. Like for example, demand for noodles. If there is a high demand for noodles in the market, then the producers who are making the noodles, they'll try to buy the noodle maker machine more in numbers. So this is called derived demand. Next, we are having composite demand. Composite demand means it is having, the commodity is having several alternative uses. Demand for goods that have multiple uses is called composite demand. Like for example, we can say electricity. Okay, as electricity is having many alternative uses. Somebody is using at home for household activities, somebody is using in factory for producing something, somebody like in bank they're using for producing services, right? So alternative uses are there for many commodities. Like for example, we do electricity, but as electricity is being supplied to the domestic area, maybe the commercial areas will have less in supply. Okay, as the commodity, composite demand means as the commodity is having several alternative uses, it decreases the availability of that commodity. This is called composite demand. Next, we are having determinants of demand or factors affecting demand. Price of the commodity. So first of all, you need to understand that the price and demand are inversely related. Inverse relationship. Inverse means as the price will increase, the demand will decrease. As the demand will increase, the price have to decrease. So it is an inverse relationship. Okay, this is called price demand. Next, we are having income of the consumer. As the income of the consumer is increasing or decreasing, the demand is also of that single person increasing or decreasing regarding different kind of goods. For example, number 1, we are having normal goods. So as the income of the consumer is increasing regarding the normal goods, the demand will also keep on increasing. What are the normal goods? The normal goods are the essential goods which we use and the luxurious items which we use. Okay, those are the normal goods. So as a person's income is increasing, the demand for those goods are also increasing. For example, luxurious goods, that is also increasing. So these are called normal goods. Here we will get an upward rising demand curve. Next, we are having inferior goods. So regarding inferior goods, what will happen is as the income will increase, as the income of the consumer is increasing, the demand for those commodities is decreasing because they are finding it inferior in quality. They will not agree to use it anymore because they are having high level of income now and they can opt for better quality products. Next, we are having inexpensive necessities. Now here I'll tell, you can see in the picture this IN demand curve, which is just standing vertical, and below you can see INQ2. Okay, this is a demand curve which is for the inexpensive necessity. This means that in this kind of products, maybe the price is increasing or the price is decreasing, doesn't matter, the quantity demanded will remain same, and the product is going to be consumed by the people in the similar manner. Okay, for example, salt. If the price of the salt increases, then also the quantity demanded by a particular person will remain same, and if the price decreases, then also the consumer will consume same amount of salt. So you can understand this will lead to a vertical standing of a demand curve. This is a vertical demand curve. INQ2. This is a vertical demand curve for this kind of commodities. Next, we are having consumers' taste and preference. So if a product is launched in the market and you do not prefer, you don't like that kind of taste, or maybe you don't like such kind of features of that commodity, so you're not going to buy. If somebody likes it, then that person is going to buy it. So according to the consumer's taste and preference also, the demand is changing or shifting. Prices of related goods. This means if a change in the price of one particular good affects the demand for another good, we say this is two goods are related. So here we can say that if one product or one commodity is changing its price, the demand for the other commodity is getting affected. Here we can explain this better in a substitute goods and complementary goods. What are the substitute goods? Substitute good means if the price, you can see in the diagram, if the price, you can see left column they have represented us with the price of coffee, and below we are having demand for tea. So if the price of, you can see there is P1 and then we are having PO. So let us consider that PO is the first one and P1 is the second price. So if from O the price is rising to P0, then the demand is 0 from 0 to Q0, and then from P0 it is rising to P1. So the demand is shifting from Q0 to Q1. So as the price of coffee is rising, the demand for tea is increasing. This means if a person goes to the market and finds that that person have went to buy coffee and the price of coffee is really high, whereas that can be easily substituted by tea, and tea is cheaper in cost, so that person will go for tea, that person will not buy coffee, right? This is called substitute goods. Next we are having complementary goods. You can see there is a diagram given which is showing us the downward sloping demand curve, right? As the price is increasing, the demand for that quantity is decreasing, and vice versa. As the price is decreasing, the demand is increasing. Complementary goods are those goods which are complementary to one another, in the sense that they are using jointly or consumed together to satisfy the given one. For example, car and petrol. Just now we came across this joint demand. It is acting similarly. Okay. Next we are having consumers' expectation. This means the consumer, if assumes that this product's price is going to decrease in future, then that demand, product for that demand will decrease. Suppose today we find that the gold's price is really high, but we are well aware that after 10 years the price is going to be more high. So this is the best time or perfect time to buy and keep some gold in stock, right? Because in future it is going to be much more higher than now. So the demand will increase now. Okay, but if we assume that the demand for gold is now maybe at a fixed price, and later on after 10 years the price is going to decrease. If we assume this, then what will happen? The demand will immediately fall, because in future the price will fall more, that time we can buy more. Okay, this is an, you can say this is an expectation or speculation or imagination. They are just expecting that okay, maybe in future it is going to rise or it is going to fall. That is also demand, that is also affecting our demand. Consumers credit facilities. This means, if credit here means loans, if the consumer is given some amount of loan, then only the consumer will be able to buy that commodity, or else that commodity will not be bought by that consumer. For example, car loans, home loans, these are available from the bank. For that, few persons are there, they know that slowly and steadily they can continuously pay their EMIs and they can pay back bank, right? So they're thinking that if this money was not provided by the bank, they would have not bought that commodity. This is called consumer credit facility. Credit here means loans. Demonstrative effect. Demonstrative effect means the commodities which are not needed for a person essentially, but that commodity is being consumed by that person in order to show off to the neighbors, to the, you can say, friends, in order to show that yes, I belong to a high status or a high status person I am. In order to just show it to the people, they are using those kind of products. For example, we can say diamond jewelry, then you can say iPhones. So phones are so many in the market, but iPhone is having a different status, right? These are called demonstrative effect. Next we are having size and composition of population. It's very simple. Size and composition. Size means as the population is more of a country, then the demand is also more in that country. If the size of the population is low, then the demand for the other, all the commodities are low in that country. Composition of the population means if the population is having, suppose out of 100, maybe 60% are old persons, then the old persons will demand for like stick, like they will demand for medicines, like they will demand for wheelchairs. This will be high in that country. So what is the composition? If the composition of that country's population more of a child, then they will demand for chocolates, they will demand for toys. Okay, so the demand for that market of that country will differ according to the composition. Okay, next we are having distribution of income. Distribution of income means if the money or the economy or wealth, you can say, is distributed among the citizens equally, that will raise to the demand of different kind of commodities or different kind of products in that market. But if the income is concentrated within single or maybe few persons, okay, then the demand for luxurious items will only increase. Okay, next we are having climatic factors. Climatic factors is very simple. Like for instance, if we go to a place where it is cold, then the demand for the hot things will increase. For example, if you go to Darjeeling area, right? So there we are not going to demand for ACs there. We are going to demand for geyser there. But as we are here in an plain area, here the heat is more. So here we are demanding for the AC. Okay, so according to the climate or according to the location, you can say the demand is changing. Demand for the commodities are changing. Government policy. Government policy here, economic policy of the government also influences the demand of the commodities. Suppose you are going to buy a medicine where you have to just pay, maybe you are buying 1,000 rupees of medicines and you are paying 2 rupees in return as GST or tax. That's fine. But if you go to buy 100 rupees for an ice cream and you have to pay tax of 50 rupees, it's better not to buy. This is what we will feel like. Right, so according to the government policy also, demand increases and decreases. In the next video, we will start from demand function. Hopefully you understood the chapter. Thank you.